That was no simulation!
I know, I'm sorry.
It's such an honor. I have been to the dark side. I have seen a world that no man should see.
Really, for most people, it was a rather pleasant experience. I mean...
That portal is mine, and it must be sealed forever for the love of God.
Well, Mr. Malcolm, sir, with all due respect, I discovered that portal. I mean, it's my livelihood, do you understand?
It's my head, Schwartz. It's my head!
I'm having a bitch of a time, and I richly deserve it.
You are a gay guy, and you have fucked who knows how many people.
Definitely not zero. It's definitely not zero.
I can't believe that these people are honestly looking at your body and coming. That doesn't make any sense.
It's not that surprising, really.
Look at this. This is completely fucked up.
That's not me. It's a tiny infant. Also, I'm straight.
There's so much evidence that that's not the case. You have the little dick that I've ever seen.
Well, what do you mean by big and little?
Fuck off.
Today on the Wall Show, I encourage my audience to kill themselves. Infamously, the Black Plague, quote unquote, is a myth. And finally, as you might expect, I am gayer than you might think. All of that and more today on the Wall Show.
I'm not feeling well. My brain is full of parasites, essentially. I've done terrible things. I'm the kind of guy that hangs around in the bar all the time and fails at everything. I'm insufficient. I'm a victim. I'm kind of stupid with it. I am a jackass. I'm just a normal guy. I have a tale I've seen Breaking Bad. I am going to punish God.
Today on the Wall Show, I'm going to blow up because I am a gay man with a porn addiction and I love cock. I would never touch naked women. I'd rather be dead than that. I would choose death over that. I am a sad and dumb motherfucker. I have got brain parasites.
My life is like Breaking Bad in some sense. I'll tell you a story. My dick is ugly as anything you could possibly imagine. I'm some very terrible little nasty thing. Anyways, I was out there in the back alley pounding away on my fucked up dick, and these little kids came up, and they were part of the Hitler Youth, and they said, "You're gay and your dick sucks." And then he came over and he tugged on it. He was quite angry. And then these little monsters started running and got hit by a whale, which makes very little sense.
Well, today on the Wall Show, I'm going to be spewing inane garbage and muttering incredulously to myself about trans people. I do that every day. I mean, this is me we're talking about. I'm a cuck. I'm a cunt. I'm a very awkward meth addict, Jim Crow coward. Those are all words I use to describe me. Of all the terrible things that I have said, this is by far the worst. Yesterday, But unfortunately, I'm told, everything that was said in the previous segment was taken out, but it would have been funny. As an accomplished bottom, I am responsible for bomb threats against doctors. I am incredibly pathetic. I confess, my penis is only 1 inch.
The problem isn't pedophilia. Unlike what we're told and what you hear in the media about all the so-called pedophile priests and so on. The problem is not pedophilia. The problem is gay priests.
Gay priests.
In the church. I'm perverted and a degenerate and a creep, and it does not matter what the fuck I'm talking about because I'm a stupid idiot and I have no knowledge whatsoever at all.
I was just outed as a sex criminal who had, at various points in my life, committed sex crimes against young girls on purpose. I get in trouble all the time for the crime of having sex with children. I'm sick of pretending. Honestly, I want women, and especially young girls, to become slaves to my most degenerate, base sexual desires.
Girls between the ages of like 17 and 24 is when they're technically most fertile. Technically most fertile. Technically most fertile. Technically most fertile. Technically most fertile.
Testicles, 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 balls, testicles. Because that's what matters to us. Testicles.
What's up, dog? Oh my God, I'm coming. I'm overwhelmed. It's too much. I'm going to drown in a sea of cum. Torture me. Do it. Why? It's fun. God is dead, and I'm gay, and I'm dead serious about that. I just gave birth to a terrible tar baby. God only knows what that means. My homosexuality is beyond dispute. On the sexual front, I'm just a thoughtless bottom. I've been informed by many sources that my OnlyFans is evil. You should wear clothing. They say, no, I'm learning to masturbate right now because no one else taught me. I don't actually know how to come. There's only one thing I fear, the explosive bear and his stupidly large balls. I don't know if anyone noticed, but the explosive bear lives in the countries of Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, and Turkazakh-Azerbaijan.
I'm gonna just skip over the part where I'm a cockroach. I derive a lot of pleasure from violence.
I want to try something fun like suicide. Why was I born? I want to wander stupidly into traffic. As some of you may know, I've been suffering from something resembling a normal life, but hopefully much of that is behind me and I can return to benzodiazepine use. Anyways, I'm not going to make it. Bye-bye. I'm going to drink or drive or both.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to Heat Death of the Universe, a podcast that will prove its multitasking skills by putting on an epic marathon theatrical performance of Eve Barlow's entire Twitter feed and doing a talk radio call-in show, fielding questions about how good the Wi-Fi will be in heaven. And also, will there be Carl's Jr. there? Will we have cable or satellite? Does God know if I jack off to porn there, even if I use a VPN in incognito mode? It is 10:50 in the morning, Saturday, September 21st, Korea Standard Time, year of our Lord 2024. Joshua, name change, nomen mutatio here, and over there is Tim Abnormal Finkelstein Buckner. Got a good handle going this week, Tim. Many props.
What's up? Thank you. Oh, it's good. You know, it's always great to be back on the only podcast that says when it comes to splinter leftist news publications, may 1,000 flowers Blumenthal. And now that's what I would call a max. How you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm doing great. For the audience, I just want to point out that amazing intro that's off the dome there, because we were just talking about the Gray Zone Splinter media shit, so I can attest to this.
That's how my brain works. I had other ideas circulating, but here's the trick to that one, is that I don't become married to any singular idea, you know? You just gotta let yourself be open and say, hey, whatever comes may come, or whatever, however that saying goes. You know,
I'm gonna come.
Don't come.
Does the bad Hezbollah Netanyahu soundboard always goes off and says, I'm gonna come?
It's a good one.
That deep BB voice.
Yes.
Speaking of deep BB voices, first thing on the list today.
Well, that might be the problem with this thing, you know, because you can't hear that deep VV voice over pager. You know, there's no audio.
All the beeping is drowning it out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if October 7th was turned into a play? I was going to say a musical, but that's not fair because it's not really musical. But imagine that too. Yes, October 7th, the play, the ride, the coupon.
The video game, the movie.
So, yes, someone has, I think it's an Irish married couple is behind this whole thing, which I was like, oh, I guess not every single Irish person is doing BDS and is pro-Palestine. So they're one of the bad ones. Yes, October 7th play it's about to make its West Coast debut. I guess it's already had an off-Broadway debut in New York, and I did find a couple of reviews on it. Maybe we'll scan some of those. I was thinking, this is in your neck of the woods here at UCLA, and it's coming up on October 7th. I think, though, that it may be sold out. I feel like I saw somewhere, but I don't know. It could be an interesting, like, gonzo journalism excursion. You could report back on your findings.
The thing about tickets now, right? The way that all the fucking ticket stuff works is like everything sells out instantly, but then you have to, like, you know what I mean? you have to check and see. But actually, this is like an RSVP thing, and it says they've reached our limit for registration. So it's not even tickets; it's just registration.
Right. I'm seeing that now too. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Oh yeah, it's free. It's a public service. So
damn. So I'm not gonna be able to go. But the good news is that this having a play based on October 7th means that finally, because the good concept, the good name won't have to go to waste, because now you can do the porno parody Suck Cocktober 7th. And that's been in my head constantly. And like, what, I mean, you can't just throw that out there for no reason, but the porn parody is a time-honored tradition. Any piece of media having a porno parody, right? So this now you can do, it's the porno parody of this musical, or I guess it's just a play. And it's Suck Cocktober 7th.
We get the adult film star who played Nailin Palin to play Bibi Netanyahu and just like overdub his soundboard clips over whatever she's saying. I'm gonna come.
Perfect. Yeah, but this does. I wish I had known about this sooner. I would try to go.
I did see this a while ago, and I didn't make the connection to like UCLA, you living there. I just saw it and kind of was like, that's gross and funny and that's stupid, and just kind of like put it aside. But I kept seeing it, so I was like, I think the universe wants me to bring this up on the podcast. So
it took me a second when you said gross, stupid, and funny. I thought you were talking about me, not the play. In Los Angeles, gross, stupid, funny. Okay. Anyways.
No, definitely talking about October 7, the play, which I guess is, what's the word for it? There's like a technical term. A verbatim play is what it's called. It's a genre of documentary theater that dramatizes a story through sources like interviews, court testimony, case evidence, public remarks. And it goes on to give some other examples of plays like this. There was one about Reality Winner.
I watched the
I think it's based on that movie. Yeah, or series or yeah.
Maybe it was a movie.
It says here HBO film adaptation called Reality.
Yeah, that was a movie. That was not very good. I would not recommend watching that.
Sydney Sweeney, though, right? You think you told me about that?
Probably. She wasn't particularly, it wasn't. Those things were not thanging, if you will.
not worth it.
Yeah.
Those things weren't thanging enough.
No.
There was a play like this about the LA riots.
That sounds pretty cool. I think I know that play, and it's actually just a song by Sublime. That's not a play; it's just a song, and it's good. I'd recommend checking that out.
Date Rape, that one.
Yeah, that's it.
Is This a Room? I think it looks like it's called, without a question mark. Weird. See, like, that seems less, I don't know, gross and exploitative to me, like the LA riots thing. But anyway, I mean, it's obviously like, they're trying to be very serious and solemn about it. And I guess maybe just in light of all of the like insane levity and comedy, quote unquote, being done right now, like praising this insane terrorist attack on Lebanon, it just feels even shittier to like see that something like this exists and is being taken seriously. But
right,
I don't know. This is more like kind of one of those, you should know this exists because it's weird.
Sure, yeah.
Type stories. And I started reading a review in the Epic Times, and that's Epic, EPOCH.
I hear people
Very confusing.
Say Epoch Times.
I literally, because I couldn't remember what the correct pronunciation is. That word always throws me.
Yeah.
I looked it up, and the first thing that came up on Google said Epic. It pronounced it Epic.
Yeah, I've always assumed that that's correct.
Epoch sounds too weird when it comes out of your mouth.
Right. And like that, like, oh, people are just trying to pronounce it or say it that way because it like, looks like that, but that it probably is that it's like epic is the way that you should be pronouncing it. I've always assumed that, but, I was never sure. So thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get too far into it. The very beginning of the review is like Pearl Harbor, 9/11. And then October 7th, just like nothing happened in between any of these things.
Also, what was it? Pearl Harbor, 9/11, October 7th?
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Was that the timeline? So all three
Yeah.
tragedies that befell the United States of America?
Yeah, the United States of Israeli America. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of putting a little bit too much of a button on it, you know what I mean? Making it very obvious that it's like what this was really all about, you know?
I mean, depending who you ask, Israel was involved in 9/11 too in some ways, but
Sure.
that's a whole other can of worms. I guess the other thing that this made me think of, maybe really the only other thing I can think of to say about this is like imagine trying to do the equivalent of this, but from the other side of the table.
Oh, sure.
Like what's happening to Gazans, or let's just say Palestinians in general. And it's like, yeah, you could do that. You could make a verbatim play, but it would be like 350 distinct plays because every fucking day something like equally shitty is happening, basically. I almost wish someone had the wherewithal to do that, just to like prove some kind of point that, you know, Zionists wouldn't care about and wouldn't be convinced by anyway, but it would make me feel, you know, righteous and justified. So
Sure. And isn't that what it's all about in the end of the day?
yeah, my feely feels.
How you feel? Because everyone knows that feelings don't care about your facts or whatever. That's the saying, right?
Feelings don't care for my facts.
Mm-hmm. And that's FAQ, frequently asked questions. You know what I'm saying?
What?
That's the facts that you're talking about.
Okay, got it.
Because it makes you mad when people keep asking the same questions over and over again. See what I'm saying?
Got it. It's all falling into place.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
My mind was also just drifting off to like how to work a fax machine joke into that, and I didn't get very far. But speaking of people's precious little feely feels and Zionism, Eve Barlow's back, baby. I don't know if she ever went away, but this is the first time I've seen her do anything in a little while. Yeah, you know, she got to posting, and as I described what I found earlier yesterday, Eve Fartlow just wants to laugh at dead children again. Can't she just have this one little joy, please? And she had this to say. She's obviously referencing the pager explosion attack, or as many American and probably just broadly like Western news outlets are describing this whole thing. Like so many times they're calling it like the Lebanon pager attack or the Hezbollah pager attack, which makes it sound like they did the fucking attack.
Right,
like, of course, the word Israel is not even in the headline. It's just like, look at what they did to themselves. It's like, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. It's so fucked up. But anyway, Eve Barlow said, with regards to this,
I'm sorry, who? I don't know any.
My apologies, Eve Fartlow, Esquire,
Please, don't
the
dead
third.
name her. I would appreciate that you do not dead name her.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Her dead name is Eve Barlow. Yeah, I like that. She had this to say. To everyone who has sent messages saying it's enough with the jokes, listen clearly. Ooh, she's got something to say.
Shit. It's serious time from Miss Fartlow.
Excuse me, Ms. Fartlow has the floor. The other night, I sat down and realized I hadn't laughed in a year. Cue some sort of sad music.
Why the fuck do I care?
Right. She also is really into this, like, I know I kind of like overly nitpick about like these fucking shitheads, the way that they tweet, like just like in formatting and grammar and shit, but she's bad at it as well, kind of like Jordan Peterson. It's like all these like sentence fragments, like to try to sound like deep and profound, but it just makes her come off even stupider. But anyway, I hadn't laughed in a year. From the gut. A real laugh. I felt terrified that I had lost the capacity for joy or fun or laughter. I'm sure this is all very true. I'm sure she's really not laughed in a whole year. Collectively, we have lost more than you could ever imagine. You don't know us. You don't know the Jews. We have been pushed to the outskirts of society. You know, I didn't know she was Scottish, or maybe I forgot until yesterday.
I had no clue.
It totally changes how I have to like read. I mean, it doesn't really, because I just in my mind she still just is like has like I don't know, just a normal like American accent or something. But
right. It also changes a lot of my opinion of her as well. I don't because of my support of Ireland, I see the Scotland as kind of like a bit of a capo situation, you know what I mean? But anyway,
little more subhuman than human.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we've lost more than you could ever imagine. No, I can imagine exactly. Like you can add it up. You can add it up very easily. Now with the people your people are punishing, it's a little harder to sort out, you know, how many dead, injured.
The thing is my ability to imagine death and destruction has been expanded quite a bit for the past year since all of the killing that Israel has been doing that we constantly see online.
But can you imagine October 7th? No, so you need to go to that place so you can see it, mister.
I can't imagine how many people got, maimed in one day attack being done by a fucking guerrilla movement versus an entire year of people being funded by like the biggest fucking militaries and economies on the goddamn planet just bombarding indiscriminately for a year straight. But no, I can't imagine what they did in one day or whatever.
Yeah, it's a real tragedy. Our inability to imagine. We have been pushed to the outskirts of society. Is that the case? See, when I survey the media landscape, I'm getting a way different picture, and I'm seeing other people definitely marginalized. Much of our pain is private. Is it? You're not putting on plays and constantly fucking griping to the world and getting platformed by the biggest media outlets ever. You're not going to the Democratic National Convention to like go and weep and get, fucking mass sympathy. Anyway.
Well,
what were you saying?
The thing about that line is it's one of those ones where it kind of smuggles in the truth there. Saying like, oh, ever since October 7th, the Israelis have been pushed to the limit of humanity or whatever. And it is like, yeah, in the sense that like your wanton fucking assassination has like kind of pushed you to the level where you kind of question the idea that you're a fucking human because of the atrocities that you're willing to commit. Like you're, again, like I said, it kind of secretly like admits the truth there without realizing. What do they call that? Is that a Freudian slip?
Yeah, she's telling on herself.
Yeah.
Much of our pain is private, including mine. Don't forget to remind us that it's all about you, Fartlow. All right, final little bit here. If we want to spend a day and a half laughing our asses off because a bunch of internationally recognized terrorist rapist assholes lost their dicks and their eyes, then we're going to laugh. Because it's funny. Love us or hate us. Oh, I know which one I'm feeling. Yeah. You've laughed at our jokes. This ending part really is like it totally peaks with this last part here, I think. This is kind of what I almost the main meat of what I wanted to get into about this whole horrible, stupid tweet. Love us or hate us. You've laughed at our jokes for thousands of years. And you've been
alive that long.
Good point. Zing, got her ass. You've been the benefactors. Okay, you need to look up what that word means, sweetie.
Yeah.
You mean beneficiaries.
This is like casualties from the Jewel poem album or whatever.
All right. Jesus, that's a
pull, right?
Past.
Yeah.
You've been the benefactors of so much of our intelligence. So she's like, let's just translate that into plain spoken English. Love us or hate us, you've been enjoying Jewish humor and intellectualism for thousands of years. So you better love us. Like, what have you ever given us in return? A whole nation state for us to rule with an iron fist. Yeah.
Now you just need to cut in for what she's saying there. Cut in the "Love It or Hate It" from the game.
Hated to love it, the underdogs on top.
The chorus where it says "Love us or hate us, the underdogs on top." Because this is exactly what she's saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. So kindly please, period. Fuck off. That's how she ends it.
Oh, perfect.
Also, it's just like, have people been enjoying Jewish stand-up comedy for thousands of years?
Wow.
I mean, I know I'm throwing in stand-up there to be snarkier, but no, even take that out of it. Like, I don't know. I guess comedy goes back a ways, but I don't really think of like. I don't really think of like the ancient like Greek plays and shit as necessarily having much comedy to them, but.
Right.
Anyway.
I mean, I'm sure that for thousands of years people have been laughing at Jews. That's for sure.
I knew you were going to go there. Yeah, not with at.
No, at. Yeah. But
she does say you've laughed at, but then she says our jokes, not us. But
right.
Yeah.
That's another one. She knows what she's doing. She's sneaking in there. Her conscience is telling on her. But yeah, no, all that really does to say is just to, like, make it be even more like entrenched how much of like it's nepotism. Every famous Jewish celebrity is nepotism for thousands of years going strong, because they were the top comedians back during the Roman Empire, and now you're the number one guy on your Twitch stream or whatever.
Welcome, Seinfeldius Maximus.
Yeah, exactly. What's the deal with the lions? You know.
Do you ever wish you could be a bee? Get all up in that honey.
Yeah, the bee thing is so good. Like, I wish that I was a bee so I could fly into a woman's pussy or something. Like, I don't even know what the guy the bee.
That movie is completely like a gigantism fetish, like,
yeah.
And then set to like the beats of a children's movie.
Right.
I've never seen it.
Sure.
I've heard it analyzed or whatever, laughed at, right. And it sounds pretty bad.
I'm just like, man, I'll just check out some R. Crumb fucking comic book. Like, I can get down with that stuff a little bit better than this. At least there's like some redeeming quality. I don't know.
Other thing is like, and it's because this is so common now, I almost like forgot. I literally read the words aloud and I forgot them quickly. But she just, without any pretense of having any facts, just throws in that, oh, these people that we blew up are also rapists.
Of course.
Like, just, it's so the move every time is like anybody that pisses off, is Israelis, they just get to throw in rapist before their name.
Probably also
without
rapists, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you may want to stop drawing attention to the concept of like rape as a weapon of war, considering that the only ones found out about that shit are you. Same with fucking human shields.
No, the thing that keeps getting me with that kind of stuff and all that is the like river to the sea thing, because like there is the like, okay, the river to the sea came from a speech that was given by like an Israeli leader to begin with, anyways, blah blah blah. But then the fact that they all like. It is that thing that makes it like it makes it impossible to trust a Zionist, when they say that and they give the like most bad faith reading of it, saying like, they say that they want to push us into the sea. They're trying to put, and whenever I hear that, I'm just like, that's not what it fucking means. You just absolutely know that's not what it means. And the fact that you say it that way, it just makes me go like, you're just a fucking inveterate liar. You're full of shit, and I can't trust anything you fucking say. Because that from the river to the sea doesn't mean, these evil... I've heard someone trying to say that about Hezbollah. They were saying, like, Hezbollah wants to kill every Israeli and push us into the sea. And I was like, that's not even the same fucking people, man. They weren't the ones even chanting that stuff. Like, what are you guys talking about?
Hezbollah literally formed as a reaction to Israel invading and colonizing Lebanon. That is where Hezbollah comes from, so explicitly as like a defensive, truly an actual right to defend itself type situation, unlike the fake ass fucking Israeli one.
Right.
Yeah, the river to the sea thing, like the ruling party of Israel, the Likud party, the far right insane Likud party, It's written into their official charter, the language of they switch the order. They say something like from the sea of Galilee or whatever. Like it's all like kind of like antiquated language, but it's like they basically say from the sea to the river, but it's the same meaning. But they don't just say from the river to the sea Israel will be free. It's from the sea to the river, all of this land will be sovereign Israeli territory for eternity, something to that effect.
Right.
Which does actually imply that if anyone happens to be on that land,
then they're fucked.
They will be removed from it. And what are they doing lately? It seems like that's exactly what's going on. Cleansing, clearing. It's like they use the literal language of, we're not doing ethnic cleansing. We just need to clean the land of these Palestinians.
Right.
It's, I mean, it could go on forever. Her silly use of benefactors made me think of like, she's like the thinking man's version of like Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
It's like slightly more like esoteric than what something like that like Ricky would say on there. I love those Rickyisms. I don't know why I could never like think of one off the top of my head though.
I never watched that show. I probably should.
Oh, it's great. It's
I know
so
everyone
good.
I heard of is like talked about how good it is.
I swear it lives up to the hype for sure. I was a little like really like I kind of thought it was going to be like I don't know, just like kind of edgelord bullshit before I actually watched it, and
sure.
Then I watched it and I laughed my damn Joker ass off. I think that's enough with Fartlow, right?
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
That's the official stance of the podcast. Fuck that
100%.
stupid bitch. We hope that something bad happens to her. That is not an actionable threat. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm just saying I dream of it happening.
I will say this did inspire me to. I wasn't going to like go fucking scrolling through her actual Twitter feed, but I assumed someone must have aggregated the best of Eve Barlow somewhere, which of course they did. And I just went and found one of those and went through it and had a couple of good laughs. So
yeah, that's good. She's good for that. She's good to laugh at. So maybe she was right.
For laughing at.
Maybe she was right.
For thousands of years, I've been laughing at Fartlow.
Laughing at dumb
and
bitch.
and admiring her intellect. I was just about to say, like, what the fuck was the connection between this next topic? Oh, it's Israel. Israel's the connection here. Tom Cotton, everyone's favorite Lil Goebbles, as I like to call him. There's several people I call Lil Goebbles now. I don't know why. It just feels right to say.
Well, there's a lot of fascism going around. You need a lot of Goebbles.
Steve Miller, the 30-year-old balding guy who looks like he's 50, who worked for Trump, whatever. He's definitely a little Goebbles.
Wait, the guy from the Horse with No Name song? He's a racist
band.
now?
Pretty sure that's a different band, but yeah. Yeah, fly like an eagle, fly like an Aryan eagle.
Joker?
I feel like
the Midnight Smoker?
I feel like we've made this exact same joke before.
I've never made this joke before.
I'm almost I could probably find it in like 10 minutes.
Maybe you have, but not me. No. I know I haven't. Maybe it's like on the podcast.
I definitely responded to you before with fly like an Aryan eagle or something like that. But
Sure.
Anyway, Tom Cotton. The other guy I call Little Goebbles is a Matt Miller, the grinning fucking freak press secretary for the State Department, the vampire one.
Yeah.
God, he's the fucking worst. I can't take it. Like, I can't look at his face. It drives me insane. You can even when he's forcing himself to try to keep his mouth neutral, resting bitch face, whatever. I can see his evil grin behind his closed mouth. You could just see it in his eyes. But anyway, enough about me and how I spend my Friday nights. But
sure. Well, I was gonna say, now how are you gonna be named Tom Cotton, but you got your big ass head and your long neck, and you're out here looking like a cotton bud, or as you Doom Yanks refer to it, a Q-tip? This motherfucker, look at his ass.
I've never heard
Q-tip ass
bud
looking
before.
motherfucker. That's what they call it in the UK and stuff. They call
in
it
the
cotton
UK.
buds. Yeah.
Huh. God damn, they're so wrong about everything over there.
I know.
Aluminium my ass.
Yeah, but how this motherfucker gonna look like a goddamn Q-tip be named Tom Cotton? In fact, Q-tips should have been called Tom Cotton. That's what they should have called them. Could you imagine?
I can't even, just like I can't imagine what Eve Barlow's been through this last year.
Sure. Maybe that is like the actual name of them. Because you know how Q-tip is a brand name, right? And like, like maybe the actual thing is called a Tom Cotton. Oh, can you hand me one of those Tom Cottons? I need to clean my ears out. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it definitely makes more sense than calling it like a cotton swab or something insane like that.
Right.
Well,
what did this asshole do?
He had a Freudian slip tweet, and it's possible that someone photoshopped this. I don't care. I tweeted the possibly photoshopped thing back at him when I found the real tweet, so to speak. He was trying to say the simple phrase, proud to stand with Israel, but this goof-ass cotton motherfucker wrote, paid to stand with Israel, emoji American flag, emoji Israeli flag. And then I did the deep digging, the sleuthing to see if he had like corrected it, or if, you know, if someone had just swiped this and photoshopped a different timestamp, because the time is different.
That's attention to detail. I like that.
I choose to believe it's real. And then so like I wrote to him something like like I'm sure he's going to read it and care. But again, this is about my feelings.
Right.
I was like, you know, people had a good 15 hours, according to the timestamp differences here, to see your Freudian slipped, you know, version of this stupid ass tweet or something like that. I just thought that was kind of a funny little goof. It's like, would that even be that controversial if you just tweeted that? No. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. He proudly says it. He says, I'm funded by AIPAC and proud. Like you might as well just say, I'm paid to stand for Israel. And then this somehow led me to finding this old picture of Tom Cotton. I guess he was in the military. I never really have known much about Tom Cotton, really, other than the dumb shit that he talks about as a senator. But yeah, I guess it's him in Iraq, and it looks like a big like dumpster that they filled with gold bars because, you know, famously the U.S. military just stole tons of shit from like the royal, like Saddam's palace and all of that. Yeah, it's just like the image is just so. And there are more images going along with it, with other soldiers all posing with gold bars as well, just proudly. It's just like it's hard to think of a more on the nose image to describe what these wars are all about. You know,
right?
Find this in the dictionary under imperialism or whatever. You know, war profiteering. Apparently, though, again, this kind of goes back to the tweet thing of like, oops, I said paid, better go change it to proud. He had like his like representatives or spokespeople or something denied that it was actually him in the photo. It looks pretty much exactly like him. I mean, I guess it could be someone who looks very similar, but I choose to believe, just as I choose to believe that he really tweeted paid, that this was really him as well. But that's the Cotton Corner for today. I'm coming after your ass for more shit in the future, little Goebbles.
Maybe we should call it the Cotton Buds. The Cotton Buds. We're talking about Tom Cotton with the Cotton Buds.
I love the idea of the like. Did you ever listen to like the U2 talking whatever U2 to me, Scott Aukerman?
Talking to U2 to me.
When they would just do all of those like mini podcasts within the podcast. Yeah, I love that shit. So maybe we'll just steal that and start making some, you know, the Cotton Buds is our first test run.
Cotton Buds. Well, yeah, perfect. I love it.
Welcome to the Cotton Buds podcast. Simultaneously an inquest into the depraved life of Senator Tom Cotton, and a look at the many wonderful uses of the cash crop we call cotton.
Did we just start an episode of the Cotton Buds?
Just gotta slip in like some new theme music, and then you're in Cotton Buds land, and then you come out of it back into the main pod.
They do. What's the thing that they do now? Have you paid attention to it?
Ackerman and
yeah.
I haven't seen their newest one, I don't think.
They have instead of you talking you two to me, it's like a different show now.
Well, they've gone through a bunch of them. They did REM. They did.
Yeah. Okay, you springing Springsteen on my bean. They're doing.
Yeah, I got.
Right now.
I kind of fell off with the whole thing.
Yeah,
I didn't. They did Talking Heads, which interested me, but I for whatever reason, I didn't. I felt like maybe they've hit a wall and are just kind of either doing the same, but maybe not. I don't know. I like Adam Scott a lot, and Scott Ackerman's good at what he does as well.
Yeah, and I liked that when they go, "This is Scott," and "This is Scott," because they both have Scott in their name. It's a good one, you know.
They do got the solid dynamic, good chemistry going there.
I'm sure that they didn't hit any kind of wall, and it's literally just as good as ever. And if I listened to it right now, I would be like, hell yeah, especially because I haven't listened to it in so long. But I just don't have. I wish I was one of these people who had that kind of brain where I could just listen to the same two guys do like this nothing podcast for a decade and be like, hell yeah. Just continuously. That's like my only response is to just always constantly just be like, hell yeah. But I get bored, and just like you, I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. But I'm sure that it's like just as good as it ever was, you know?
Well, when they get into the earnest parts about the music, that's when it starts to lose me, because
Sure.
I do not care about U2. And
yeah, I don't like all that old man bullshit rock and roll that they like. That shit is all fucking gay as hell to me.
I kind of could appreciate the REM one, but
sure,
I think I was done after that. Whatever. But the whole thing. This is quite an aside. The whole thing started with the late great Harris Whittles, and Scott Ackerman had Analyze Fish, where Harris Whittles was just trying to get him into Fish. That was a good one.
Yeah, I like Harrison's Foam Corner.
Harris's Foam Corner is stuff of legend.
All time. Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's like it's actually pretty mainstream podcast talk right there. But like, I think, not everybody knows what the fuck we're talking about. So if you don't, just go with it.
The humble brag thing, the fact that Harris Whittles invented humble brag is one of the craziest things.
It's huge.
It's less popular and relevant than it used to be, but that was like so fucking mainstream like that's just like in the dictionary level fucking term at this point, you know?
I still throw out a humble brag now and then, although it is with like a little bit of irony. And like the last time it was like used as a recurring bit in a funny way was on that Blank Check podcast. One of the guys on there would, when he just basically used it in the opposite way. Like he would say something really normal, like, like me and my girlfriend did this. He'd be like, humble brag, whatever. It's like I win. I got some tacos yesterday. Humble brag sure. Much?
Pretty good.
All right. Speaking of stuff from, I don't know, 2012, 2013.
Sure.
I guess I just forgot that Daily Beast even exists anymore, and accidentally fell into a series of articles all in the Daily Beast just because whatever one I found first, this one. So new Havana syndrome is just dropped.
Nice.
Trump rally goers say they are experiencing mysterious eye injuries. I think something like this happened like kind of recently at like a tech conference or something too, though. And what it turned out to be at the tech conference was like something with like fluorescent lights, but just like, or some kind of lighting system that wasn't properly like dimmed or whatever. People were having like burning like eye pain or something.
I'm just gonna say, like, what do you expect going to a Trump rally and standing there? You're not supposed to stare at the true vicious visage of God, And like, if you're just staring at Trump for hours, of course you're gonna go blind. Human eyes are not built to take that in.
Just occurred to me another working theory. I mean, of course, the God theory is right, but the people who are there's like 6 people, I think, out of the whole crowd complaining about this, mysterious eye pain, and they were all the ones sitting directly behind Trump, like staring at his donk.
Yeah.
And my theory is he's just ripping ass into their eyeballs, giving them pink eye.
Sure.
Because he loves his fans, folks. He truly, genuinely, from the bottom of his heart, loves all of you.
Or maybe that's it. Maybe it's he really does love fans, like the machines that blow air, and this is like an offshoot of
right
Korean
behind his ass.
So he's got a ton of fans pointing at the stage, and it's so much that it's causing. These people are weak. They're not experienced in the fan. They can't handle it for that many hours.
That's how Trump separates the wheat from the chaff at his rallies. He just farts in people's faces. And if you can't take it, bye-bye, honey. You got pink eye now.
So this Daily Beast article, this article is just a big fucking nothing. It's but at the end of it, it's got 2 authors.
I hate that shit, man. Beast? I hate that shit. It's so short. It's got
nothing to it.
It's got nothing to it, and it's just physically in terms of numbers and space-wise, it's so short. Yeah, I don't even really need to read anything from it. It's just people describing their. I mean, I don't doubt that they're actually having some symptoms, but I mean,
I also this motherfucker refers to them as victims. We don't even know that anything happened. How are they victims?
It could literally be so many just normal diseases that people get, or whatever.
This fucking rag. This goddamn rag, the Daily Beast.
I probably wouldn't have even noticed this if I had just seen the title, but of course I found this in one of my favorite subreddits, and that's where the all caps New Havana syndrome caught my eye, so I was like, gotta check this out. Also, in light of the beeper attack that Hezbollah did to itself, anytime I hear anything about fucking eyeballs now, I'm just thinking about I'm thinking about the fact that a Lebanese doctor said that he had to remove more eyes in the last 3 hours than he has in 25 years of practice. So suck it up, MAGA eye freaks. It could be worse. Right. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, it is kind of a nothing story, but gave us some good theorizing on how Trump farts on his worshippers. Another thing about a Trump rally, also in the Daily Beast, Trump be misgendering.
Oh no, Trump might be canceled. Is he not woke? Fuck.
Can you believe it? Imagine my surprise.
Not my Trump.
Why do I associate the imagine my surprise? Is that a meme? Am I
I don't know. I mean, yes, technically.
Okay. I mean, I have it in my head as something that Paul Joseph Watson, the Prison Planet, Alex Jones partner himself, I feel like that was something he said all the time when he would just be snarky about imagine my surprise when I found out Venezuelans are eating the zoo animals, shit like that. Anyway, imagine my surprise when I found out Trump is not woke. Actually, this is totally a misleading headline as well, I think. But let's find out for ourselves if it really is.
Hey, why not?
Donald Trump misgendered reggaeton star Nicki Jam.
Oh,
you ever heard?
Yes.
Have you heard of this person?
Yes. Well, I heard of this story.
Oh, okay. At a campaign rally on Friday in Las Vegas, introducing the male singer as a, quote, hot woman. The former president then came face to face with his blunder as the vocalist joined him on stage. But here's the thing, guys. Trump is stupid, but he's not that stupid. Trump is hateful, but he wouldn't be that particular brand of hateful in such a public setting, I don't think, to insult a supporter of his that way, especially.
Right.
He just didn't know who the fuck this person was. The person wasn't on. The person was not on stage. He's bringing them out, and so he just sees on his notes someone named Nikki, which is often
Nikki Jam,
a female
folks. Name, and spicy Latina. We like it. We love it, folks, don't we?
He just assumes it's gonna be a hot lady,
yeah,
because that's what he wants. It's just wishful thinking.
Right. Well, and it also plays into the trope. Again, that's why I say spicy Latina. It's it's this hot, sexy Latin lady, right? That's the trope. Latin ladies are fiery and hot and sexy, They can't just be normal women or whatever. They're either maids that don't have any sexuality or personhood, or they're like spicy, hot, sexy. Yeah.
Otherworldly fuck creatures. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They just can't just be like normal humans. So yeah, so like he assumes, oh, Nikki Jam, she's probably one of those spicy Latinas. She's like a Shakira type. I don't know. But yeah, he didn't take 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds to just know who this person was. Not even like listen to a song, whatever. No, it was, hey, we're doing this thing. We're going to have this musician come out. They're going to like whatever. And he just paid no attention to it. He was probably busy on his phone playing Angry Birds. I'm sure that's what he does in his free time.
But see, it's hard to pack all of that into a good eye-catching headline. So you just got to say, he hatefully misgendered someone.
You know what would be eye-catching is Nikki Jams, the female singer. She's very eye-catching.
Yeah, it's just some dude.
Not eye-catching at all. Maybe actually what Trump was doing, he's doing like 10-dimensional chess, and he was like, no, Kamala wants to turn Nikki Jams into a sexy woman when he's in prison because he's going to be an illegal alien in America. And when he goes to jail for that, Kamala is going to turn him into a sexy lady. That's what he meant.
Yeah, he's definitely doing that 12th dimensional chess.
Yeah. Trump, sometimes his brain, it spins so fast, he forgets that everyone else is like a few steps behind. They're not there yet, But we're on the same wavelength, It's one of those only kings understand each other. Yes, I have the same brain as a dying 70-year-old man who's literally lived his entire life off of McDonald's for the past 27 years. I have that same level of brain function. So I can read what
sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And then the Daily Beast, of course, had to make a separate article with a follow-up that Nikki Jam disavowed Trump and withdrew his
damn, that's brutal.
And didn't at first, but after getting basically bullied online by people about it, was right. I can't take it anymore. Fuck Trump.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about Trump fans, and they're ride or die with Trump, where they're going to pop on and bully you, Nikki Jam, and be like, why weren't you a sexy lady? Why did you decide that you had to make Trump wrong? You should be a sexy lady.
Exactly. They bully him into transitioning, even though they're fundamentally opposed to that.
I mean, Trump has decreed it,
Speaking of doing a transgenderism and Donald Trump gets involved in this story a little down the line, but GOP Gov candidate shares his love for transgender porn and slavery in bizarre old posts. Now, that's the alt title. The title that I saw, the clickbait title that got me into it first, was the following. And please, listeners, do not cut this out and use it to blackmail me or something. I'm a black Nazi who loves trans porn, mega candidate posted.
Yeah.
So much misleading shit again from, can you believe it, the Daily Beast is not doing solid ethical journalism here, but I mean, they get a fair amount of it right, but I don't I'm curious what you think about this. Cuz it seems to me that it's almost doing that reverting to just what 5, 6, 7 years ago before anyone gave a shit ever about trans people. When it's just the punchline is that he likes trans porn. It seems a bit unwoke to me, or whatever.
The whole thing. I mean,
because it's implicitly equating in a weird way transgender porn with these other things. With I'm a Nazi. I think slavery's good. I know that's not their. Right. I don't think that's their intent. Their intent is more he's a hypocrite because he's a MAGA guy who probably has said hateful shit about trans people, I'm guessing. But I don't even know if that's true. I don't think that they cite him saying anything about trans people in this.
No.
But he did definitely say online, they basically dug up shit that he wrote in 2010. He said, slavery is not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring it back. I would certainly buy a few. And then, seemingly unprovoked, Robinson also posted later that year, I'm a black Nazi. I just like the...
Hell yeah.
The bluntness of it.
I like it. I like it quite a bit. But yeah, this story is kind of already hitting all over the place. And I agree with you. And I think that a lot of people are kind of gawking at the freak, and it's fun to point at and laugh at him and all this and that. But as you talked about it, it is a bit like, and whatever, that's fine. People can just say whatever they want. Maybe it's just not me. Like, just we're like puritanical and sex negative when it's like a Republican, I guess. That's like if you're MAGA, you're not allowed to like be a freak and be into weird sex shit.
That's just where it gets confusing for me. And we've kind of talked about this before, I feel like, on the podcast, where like when we were talking about like how the grinder like hits like go up like, you know, tenfold or whatever when the fucking RNC, those are the three letters. I kept thinking GOP.
Hey, that's the first time I've ever done that. I'm proud I got to be the one who knew the thing.
I don't know if that's the first, but thanks, man. You dug me out of a fucking grave there. Yeah, the RNC. And like, because the thing is,
speaking of getting dug out of a grave, that's kind of my kink, you know? I like getting dug out of a grave. You know, I'm kind of into that. That's the kind of freaky stuff I get into.
I saw a documentary once about that as a form of therapy. I think it was in South Korea, actually. It was like one of those like edgy Vice documentaries from like 15 years ago.
Sure.
And it was like, to get over your depression or your anxiety, they like put you in a fucking coffin in the ground, and you're supposed to like, I don't know, be there overnight or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Right. It was a documentary by the cool edgy guy from the Fifth Column, right? Anyways, but when I get that, here's the thing: you're talking about like, oh, it's some kind of like healing feeling. Well, when I get that feeling, I need sexual healing, and getting dug out of a grave is sexual healing for me.
It's not being in the grave that gets me hard. It's the being released from the grave.
Yeah,
which actually I can see that. I can see that, like. Because like you get like you get a rush of endorphins from like the relief of like having your life saved or whatever. Yeah, I get it.
Right. It's knowing that someone would care. It's like, oh, I've been buried alive. I'm going to just die. I have to accept that this is my fate. But someone cared enough to come into, and it's not just like easy, like just press a button. It's not the trolley problem, and I'm one of the like 7, guys on one track versus the one person on the other, and someone just flipped a switch. They had to like dig, they had to come in, they had to wear different pants. You can't be digging out a grave in your fucking church pants, But they were like, we gotta save this guy's life, and like that'll get you going. It's that human connection. Anyways, none of this is true.
It's reminding me a lot.
I jack off like a normal dude on the toilet thinking about trains. Just like a regular guy.
I do regular stuff like find car crashes and crawl under them and fuck the people that are in there.
Yeah.
That's what your grave digging thing was making me think of the movie Crash for a second. It's like kind of a similar but a little more twisted version of that.
Is that you're talking about the original Crash, not the
racism is bad Oscar bait movie that is.
But okay, but it is kind of interesting because maybe it was an intentional homage, because the 2000s Crash had the scene where the cop is like saving the broad who's like upside down.
That's right. Holy shit. That's right.
Earlier in the movie, he had grabbed her titty, and like the way that he's like in there, it's like it is sexual in nature,
Weird. I wonder if that was a bizarre homage to.
I think it was a bit of a
David Cronenberg's Crash. I think the last time I watched the movie Crash was like coming up on a fucking bad LSD trip when I was in high school, and someone had the bright idea to put on this like very dark, fucked up movie. I was like, God, I gotta get out of here.
Right. Well, okay, I gotta correct you there. This is a teaching moment. There's no bad trips. There's just
it's bad me.
And if you're listening to this and you're high, if you're listening to this and you are currently high on any drug or on LSD, we know that you are high. Everyone can
and it's
tell.
all your fault.
We all can see it, and we know, and it is your fault. And your parents got divorced, died, or didn't love you enough because of it.
And you need to put on the movie Crash and watch the whole thing a few times through. Yeah, I don't think we need to say any more about the Black Nazi thing, right? Like
Yeah, they talked about this on fucking.
Oh, they
Chapo
did?
News. They
Damn
fucking
it.
Killed this thing. Yeah, like hours before we started recording. That was part of why I completely derailed this. But our conversation was much better than anything they talked about.
Sweet. Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet. So anyway,
Mark Pocan, you've heard about this guy? No, anyways.
I think it will save the everything we know about the woman being dubbed Diddy's Ghislaine for another day. But a most cursed image. This one's pretty good here. This is a visual one. You gotta take a look at it with me. And listeners, if you care to take a look, go to the episode description and click on those show notes.
Ooh.
And you can also see this cursed image.
We like to call them the show notes. Just abbreviate it.
Show notes.
Check out the show notes. Yeah.
Nano Romo show notes.
Yeah. It sounds like what they call pedophiles in prison, but I promise you it's not.
So coming up in just 8 days from the time I'm recording right now.
Everyone's sick sleeps.
Washington, D.C., www.jointheresistance.org. Rescue the Republic. This is a poster for this event that's going to happen. And I just realized it's like written in like sort of pseudo Star Wars font, and obviously using words like the Republic, and then it says join the resistance.
Sure.
And who do we got dead center? Well, it's kind of a toss-up between RFK Jr. and Russell Brand vying for the center spotlight.
Okay, but because of the nomenclature that you use there, when this is the rule. When it becomes an argument between who is dead center, you default to the Kennedy.
Good point. Tie goes to the magic bullet magnet.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we've got our friend from last week's episode, Brett Weinstein. He's there up on the top build level. Then next to him is...
He had another stupid this week.
Oh, yeah?
I kind of wish... Yeah, but anyways, continue on. I forgot what it was. I wish it was on the notes. Oh, anyway.
If you remember, feel free.
Yeah.
Then... LTC, Tulsi Gabbard, I assume that means lieutenant colonel or something, because she's like military or former military, but it's so funny that they feel the need to like distinguish her that way. It's like,
wait, was she in the American military?
She's American.
I thought
she's from
that
Hawaii.
She was just like a lieutenant of. I thought she was just like a lieutenant of Modi. I thought she was in like his guard or whatever, his personal. I didn't know that
she's of Modi descent, Indian descent, but
but she also is part of that weird ass cult that thinks that he's one of like the prophets or God or whatever. So I figured,
yeah, I think
that was who she served.
I think her dad is like really into that shit, and she is now as well. It sucks how shitty she's become over the years.
Sure.
I can still remember like learning about who she was in like the height of the Bernie. It must have been the 2020 Bernie campaign, but maybe it was the earlier one. I can't remember. I think it was the first one. It was like, oh, this like hot senator from Hawaii likes Bernie Sanders. Maybe things aren't so bad in the world.
Now, how would her dad say Bernie Sanders? Anyways, when you were talking about the text looking like Star Wars,
yeah.
I thought that she was Gina Carano, because they kind of have a similar vibe. Because she was on that Mandalorian show or whatever, but got kicked off.
True.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, it's Gina. Maybe that's why they're doing the Star Wars theme, because they got Gina Carano, but it is Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah,
right? No, it's not. Yeah, it's Tulsi.
It's definitely Tulsi Gabbard. I know that face anywhere. She's sans the white streak in her hair.
Yeah. I guess that probably worked well on the left, but I don't think that something like that for a woman polls well on the right. You know what I mean?
But that's when it happened. Was like long after the turn.
No.
Yes.
No, she had it like in the beginning.
No way.
Yeah. I remember the first time I was exposed to her, she had like a little shock.
I remember it being like so off-putting to me when I saw it, and that was like well into her like being, whatever MAGA freak she's become.
All right.
Well, anyway, who cares? Then some guy I don't recognize, and it's not just because he's the only black person on the whole panel, but I don't know who that is.
But they could have gotten. I mean, from this picture, I can't necessarily even say that he's black, because it's small and it's far away. He looks ethnic. He could pass for black, whatever. But his lips also look incredibly ashy, and I'm just like, did you guys have to get? Couldn't get a higher quality black person? Like, I'm sorry, but that's just not. Actually, they got all the names listed here. I could definitely figure out who it is based on that.
Is it Zuby?
But anyways, continue. That is who it would be. It would be Zuby. They should have got TK Dubs.
And next to Zuby, we have this guy. Do you recognize this guy? I do, because he was like making the rounds on like every like crank podcast for a while. Like Jimmy Dore loves the shit out of this guy. And Jimmy Dore is right below this guy, Dr. Robert Malone. He's the distinguished scientist who studied, vaccines and shit, and said that the vaccine was evil and going to make you grow like legs out of your head. And the reason he's hard to forget in my mind is every time I see him, he looks like his eyes are missing. And I'm not trying to just bring up the fucking Lebanon thing again, but doesn't he look like his eyeballs are scooped out of his head?
Yeah,
just like the way his brow shades his eyes.
It's
eerie.
Yeah. But part of it is like, we should probably look up the original picture, but this picture of Matt Taibbi, because I just realized that's who that is fucking mean. That is offensive. If I was him, I'd be pissed. If you use that picture of me.
I was like, what does he look like? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
I was thinking the same thing earlier while we were talking, but like.
He looks like the fucking thing from Prometheus. He looks like that fucking pale alien thing.
That's a better pull. My first thought was he looks like one of the Na'vi, but let's say he looks like the Prometheus guy's better angle, because he's not blue. Yeah, Matt Taibbi looks like a real freak in this picture, and
he should be fucking upset. He should be calling his agent to get off of this thing, man. This is fucked up. This is what they think of me?
It's so weird for me to remember that I was like not that long ago enjoying listening to Useful Idiots when he was the other co-host. I mean, it's so much better without him, but like it's just one of those weird like, man, time flies, things change fast, whatever type things. But and then I don't recognize anyone else on that bottom row except for Jimmy Dore, who's like way down at the bottom, kind of poking his head in like, hey guys, don't forget about me, I'm a comedian.
Oh yeah. All right, I pulled up the original picture, and it's everybody looks slightly better. But also, here's the very funny thing: the original tweet by Owen Higgins, but it's Owen Higgins. It's insufferable. The first response that he puts to it is, "If you want some insight onto how Matt Taibbi ended up here, may I recommend pre-ordering my forthcoming book, Owned: How Tech Billionaires." On the right, bought the loudest voices on the left. So, E.O. and Higgins.
For a second, I thought you were saying owned, like pwned, because you like gave it a good pause there.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's a pretty good one, because, I mean, I don't know, even at his peak of being, base Chad, I don't know if I would have called Matt Taibbi, like, a leftist, right? But,
no. He was pretty straightforward about that, too. He would at least say, I'm not a socialist.
Well, he's one of these, he's like, this is a thing that happens, I think, primarily in, like, journalist autism, like, those guys, is that they become, like, the pervert for nuance guy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff on both sides. And it's just a way to cover your ass, where it's like, I'm going to tell whatever story I think is most interesting, I
mean, the thing is there was a time when I genuinely liked his writing, and he was writing good, like, critical stuff about, like the defense budget and whatever, and like he got really into the financial crash. That was his whole thing, which always would kind of bore me to death a little bit to listen to him talk about. But anyway, how far he's fallen is definitely true, even though he was never, like you said, like super to the left or anything. But I mean, he's on a panel with these fucking people, like, Jesus. But the final thing I want to say about the guest list here is the last name on there. I didn't even notice this until just now. Is Mary Holland, and I'm like, only thing I think of with Mary Holland is a really funny like UCB that came out of UCB actress, improv person. Do you know Mary Holland? You're in LA. You know all those people.
Yeah. I was just thinking, ooh, I look just like Mary Holland.
Okay. And then they have a bunch of bands playing, and we'd be remiss not to just mention some of the band's names here. Skillet is the most prominent name in it.
Oh, do you know Skillet?
I don't know. I don't know any of these bands, and I laughed at every
Skillet
single
is like a
name.
moderate-sized band.
Well, it's a hilarious name for a band that, based on the font, I'm assuming is like some sort of like hard style rock music, if not just like outright metal.
Yeah, I mean they're butt rock.
Butt rock named Skillet. Then there's Struggle Jennings. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that's just Jennings makes me think of country music, but I don't know. The Defiant, Human Garbage, 5 Times August. God, I hate these band names.
That's a good
5 Times August is such. I hate those style of band names so much.
Right.
Deepak, is that like a Deepak Chopra cover band? And then there's something named TN Lightning Bolt Jet, whatever. Anyway, looks like a fun time. I wish I could be there. I'm having real FOMO right now. But yeah, so join the resistance, guys. This was just an ad for RescueTheRepublic.org or whatever. Another section here is the Peterson Walsh beat.
Sure, yeah. That was our main alley.
I feel like it's been a little while since we've had a laugh at Jordan Peterson's expense. So here's a quick one. Fairly recent tweet. I guess 2 weeks ago, whatever. Social work has been a pathological and dangerously counterproductive discipline for years and is now entirely destructive and corrupt. I should say, before I continue reading in that painful voice, the Reddit title that caught my eye on this one was "Everything I Don't Like is Postmodern Neo-Marxism," which you could apply to pretty much everything Jordan Peterson ever says. Let a social worker near your child at your peril and your child's. Isn't that implied that it's also at the child's peril? Little redundant there, JP. I'm dead serious. They are entirely ideologically captured and woke/radical leftist beyond imagining. Beyond imagining again, just like a Fartlow.
This is the kind of shit that these fucking people, like, the same people that try to be like, race realist. I'm just asking questions. I just have this inquisitive mind.
I'm a noticer.
I'm just Mr. fucking, noticing, asking question type fucking Jordan Peterson, all of these fucking assholes, right? They try to do all this thing to create separation from like, I'm not a racist. I just kind of like, But then like, you can see the way that their brains work, where they're like clearly obsessed with the idea that they just pick a category and like say that everyone in this category is this. When he talks about this, where it's like a fucking public service worker, whatever, like every single social worker is indoctrinated in leftism, and it's like, oh, okay, so isn't that like not a very far leap for me to believe that you think every black person is exactly the same? Every trans person is exactly the same. Like, you act as if, like, oh, I'm so above it, and all of these woke leftist freaks try to say that I'm racist, but I'm clearly not. I'm just asking questions, and I'm just noticing things. But it's like, but when it's not a protected class, when it's social workers, then you're like, every single one of them, all social workers are indoctrinated in leftist fucking thought and are trying to kill your family. Like, this is clearly how your brain works. And this is how it's very obvious that it's just like, just be smart enough to cover your ass and not like openly in public show that this is how your brain works. It's fucking crazy to me. It's so infuriating because I would never say that about any group of people. I don't pick out any group of people no matter what like contingent nature like links them together. I would never say every single one of them is whatever thing. It's like, okay, there's a high propensity, blah, blah, blah. I would like take the time to explain it, in that way. But anyways, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, because if he did what you're saying, the smart thing, then he wouldn't be Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. And this is the only way he stays afloat, is by tweeting shit out like this every day or two, because it's, whatever, the attention economy, blah, 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 clicks, clicks, clicks. It's really all it is. And he knows that like people are going to get worked up about this. I mean, I wouldn't say I was worked up about it. I just think it's funny how stupid he is. I'm not like, unlike Tom Cotton's Twitter, I don't go to Jordan Peterson's Twitter and start commenting on his posts. No, I mean, you're totally right. I mean, what they would say if they're confronted that way, like, oh, you're lumping like entire groups together or whatever. They would say, well, social work is an ideology. Race is not an ideology. Ipso facto, QED, I win. The final line of his tweet, by the way, is just anti-family postmodern Marxists, period.
Sure. But, like, is that why am I arguing with your strawman bullshit that they're going to make up? I'm sorry. Anyways, continue on.
I mean, that's all I have to say about Jordan Peterson. I mean, I'll just throw in that like he chooses a profession that like all sane people that aren't horrible recognize as like a very noble profession. Like social workers are treated like shit. They're paid poorly, and 9 times out of 10, they're actually like doing everything they possibly can to like improve somebody's life. I mean, I'm not gonna like. I don't want to like. I mean, of course, there's some bad ones or whatever, and like what. Anyway, my point is just that like he picks these professions that like everyone likes. Like we talked about before with him, like where he went after like all the like everyone in the healthcare field basically. Right. It's like plumbers are saving more lives than any doctor ever has. Like, yeah. It's like, yeah, we fucking hate.
That was a good one.
We should just hate doctors. That's says the guy who's always so fucking sickly and ailing that he has to like be fucking dragged around the fucking earth to like different experimental doctors in like unregulated countries to be put into comas to come off his fucking Klonopin addiction or whatever.
And he's also one of these freaks who does the, like, I'm a doctor, so you should respect everything I have to say, guys, even though what I'm talking about has nothing to do with what I got my doctorate in, and I'm not a medical doctor. So he's one of these, like, everyone should fucking hate doctors because it's all bunko crap, buddy, don't you know? But also, I have a doctorate in fucking, like, oh god, I forget what his doctorate is, but it's like
psychology.
It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with the shit that he talks about constantly.
I mean, his doctorate really was in like like mythology. It's like the evil serpent represents the woman, the female drive. Like,
but it's like it's just fucking stories. The shit is all stories. That's the thing. It's like having a doctorate in mythology and pushing that as meaning something. It's not meaningful. It's shit that people made up. It's the same as like just being like into religion and being a priest. It's like it does not I guess like encourage credulity that I'm supposed to just automatically accept and respect your opinion on things because you have a doctorate in hokum. Like you studied a made up thing and then now you try to use that as proof for reality. And then also being like, and then also science is fake. Also doctors and science and medicine, all of that stuff is made up, buddy. That's all fake, but my stuff is real. Like, what the fuck?
Climate change is 1000% a hoax perpetuated by
Medusa?
By Marxists. But the serpent woman theory and the theory that ancient peoples knew of the structure of DNA because they saw 2 snakes intertwined around each other, that's all real.
Right.
But moving on to another equally stupid man, I would say. They're stupid in different ways, I guess, kind of. Matt Walsh, our good buddy Matt Walsh, had something to say about sick leave.
Hell yeah.
That I think we should just play. It's pretty short.
That's my dog.
All right. So, Matt Walsh on what it means to call in sick to work. Get ready for scorching hot takes.
Yeah, Matt Walsh asking the important question, what is a sickness?
I would just like to point out as well that before I play this, that Matt Walsh, as far as I know, has probably never worked a real job ever in his life. And definitely not in the last like 10 or 15 years where he's just been doing these right-wing media bullshit jobs where he gets paid to stare into a camera and say shit like you're about to hear. So just think about that when he goes off on what it means to be a hard-working man, a tough guy wearing a flannel shirt, trying to look like a lumberjack. But here we go.
A side note on the sick day thing is and you know, this will be unpopular, especially with younger people, but you shouldn't be using sick days. Okay, I've used sick days maybe twice in 7 years, and in both of those cases, because I lost my voice and I couldn't speak. You know, you can't blame me for that. It's impossible to do a podcast when you can't speak. And even then, I still, and anyone who has been watching the show for a while, you know this. I still came into the office and recorded a video with subtitles when I lost my voice, if you recall. But generally speaking, again, I know this is unpopular, but sick days are for children, okay? They're for kids in school who are trying to stay home so they don't have to take a test that day. Like, with rare exception, taking a sick day as an adult should be pretty embarrassing for you. Calling your boss and saying, sorry, I can't come in today, my tummy hurts, is humiliating. You need to be at work, okay? Adults don't have time to be sick. They don't have time for it. That's. I was just having this conversation with my kids recently, actually, because I was kind of under the weather, and my kids were aware of that, and they said,
under the weather.
So why are you going to work? I said, because I don't have time to be sick. Okay, I don't know. I can't be. I don't have time. But you are sick, yeah. But I don't have time.
Not me. I'm
so
over the weather.
It's like I'm operating as though I'm not.
Over the weather. Gotta repeat that. That was a good one.
So, number one, this motherfucker started his radio career in 2020. He would have been 24 years old at that time.
Jesus, I was going to say, is he that young?
24 years old at that time. Like you said, probably didn't have any real jobs, because by the time you're 24, you're already working on the radio. You probably haven't done jack shit. The first show that he did was the Matt and Crank program. I don't like the sound of that. Not one bit. That sounds more like, a Saturday night in my 20s, Matt and Crank, than it does like a radio program I want to listen to. But
doing crank and cranking off.
Yeah. The only times he's ever called out of work, and he instantly gets to the point, which is exactly what you said. He's never had a real job, because he's like, I've only ever called out these couple of times, and that was because I had no voice. And hello, folks. You can't do a podcast without a voice, am I right? Come on, we all get that. Without ever having it cross his little fucking pea brain, because he has no concept of it, that, like, imagine if the work that you did, it wasn't necessary that you're able to talk, but it was necessary that you were physically able to do something, because the work that you did required physical labor. Then maybe you could be sick enough to where you couldn't do physical labor.
No, pussy excuse.
Similarly to the way that he was sick enough that he had, I can't talk. Well, I mean, come on, folks. If you can't, you can't do a podcast if you can't talk. It's like, I can't do my fucking job if I can't move. If I physically can't do things, I can't do my job. If my job was talking, then maybe I would be fine. But the idea that it's like, well, I mean, come on, how can I do a podcast if I can't talk? It's just, dude, did it not cross your? It doesn't. But it's just like the thing with the Haiti, like him getting shut down talking about Haiti.
Ryan Grimm,
guy who just
took him to task.
Yeah, Ryan Grimm just fucking murked his ass, because he just throws out these like nothing platitudes, because he's just like this visage of a right-wing concept. He has absolutely no substance behind him, and it takes 2 seconds to poke gigantic holes right through him. And that's why I'm like, the Am I Racist movie, I'm slightly worried about it, because I do think that, like, it will work, because the people that he's lampooning are like, they deserve it greatly, and you don't really need to have a ton of substance to attack those people, so people might buy into his bullshit from that. But it is like, dude, like, it just takes 2 seconds to be like, oh yeah, that weird fucking incredibly stupid thing you threw out there. Have you given this like 2 seconds of thought? No, you haven't, because you don't have anything to back it up. Oh, okay, cool. Like, you're just talking out of your ass.
If there's any like sliver of showing that he realized mid-sentence or whatever, or like midway through his little 1.5-minute rant, realized that your point basically is because he then just backtracked on it. He said like, I only called in twice. And then he's like, oh shit, people are going to wonder why I called in. Oh, it's because I was lost my voice 2 times. It's like, okay, it's not that crazy that could have actually happened. I'm going to call bullshit on all of the stuff he was citing specifically. I don't believe that he came in with his not being able to make sound come out of his throat, and then had one of his little fucking assistants type up subtitles like he said. It's like, so what did you do? You sat on a couch while someone else typed up your little script and then put it on YouTube, like, and they just filmed you sitting there like staring at the camera, not moving your mouth. Like, what would that have looked like, you know?
Would that, well, and as you said, like the idea that was like a retcon because he realized what he said was like, could be bad. It's like, wait, how would that be calling out then? That wouldn't be calling out. And you started this out saying
he completely changed it.
But then you're like, oh, but I showed up.
Well, actually, remember?
But I actually did show up though. And it's like, okay, so
he
then
said
that's
to the
not
audience
calling
too.
out.
I think he said it this way. He was like, remember when I did that?
Yeah, you remember, you were there. And if you weren't there, then you're not a real one. You're not a Walsh head from day one. I only fuck with real Walshers.
There's something so funny about these, the most pampered people to ever exist in the history of humanity, trying so hard to be fucking tough and, you know, whatever their conception of masculinity is. And I don't know, just the total like cognitive dissonance between like reality and what they imagine themselves to be. Like, I imagine Matt Walsh like looks in the mirror and sees like the fucking brawny fucking towel mascot. He's like, that's me. That's why I wear
with his stupid ass beard,
these flannel shirts all the time. But yeah, Matt Walsh. Well, Matt Walsh, star of the country's #1 comedy, is what I keep getting in my fucking inbox because I haven't unsubscribed to Daily Wire yet. Nice. After I did it just to get those fucking Mr. Bircham,
the first episode of Bircham. Yeah.
I mean, I've kind of stuck with it because, I mean, almost every single one has just been like promoting that movie, and I just delete it without opening it. But sometimes they post shit that's like,
sure.
Let's see how stupid this is today. But anyway, it's possible we may review that movie. I'm sort of on the fence about it because it seems maybe too stupid to be even worth it. But
I just
I'm not
found
sure.
it, so we'll see.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Literally just went up.
Nice. Well, then maybe it's a sign. It's a kismet.
It might be. I like to say jizmet. It's a blessing that comes with. It's a blessing that happens when you nut.
Let's just go to the last thing here. I think.
Hell yeah.
Got some stuff we can. I'll save some of this for later. This is just sort of a note to self. But
sure.
What kind of government do you think they have in heaven?
I think I know.
Inquiring minds want to know. I don't know how the fuck I found this, by the way. I don't know how I landed on this article.
It was divination.
Yeah, I guess so. I blacked out and I woke up and I was scrolling down this article at freethinkingministries.com, where the guy who runs this site posts fun articles with titles like "Climate Sky God Destroys Homes While Immigrants Eat Cats." I did read that one. It's just, it's basically just like it's almost like a South Park take on like the debates, but it's obviously more right leaning. Like, Trump is stupid too, but anyway, it's just like, you know, guys, I think we learned a lesson here today. Both people suck.
Right.
Key Tenets of Marxism versus America's Philosophical Foundations. That's a longer one. I think the people who work at this website are all like philosophy dorks who are like trying to be like hip Christians. And as you'll find out in this little bit that I want to read, most definitely are libertarians. So he has a little Q&A section or whatever on his website. And this time he got a question. Oh, this is an old one. I don't know that it matters. I'm sure he would have the same response today, but this is from 2021. Dear Dr. Stratton. Another doctor. I'm sure it's I'm sure he's a doctor in neurology or something. Now, dear Dr. Stratton, I have a short but not so simple question. What type or form of government is in the kingdom of heaven? Mike. XOXO Mike. And
damn.
Unfortunately for us, this man's name is Tim, but I'll from here on out refer to him as backwards of Tim. Mitt has to say. Mitt Romney says, "What a great question. If heaven is..." All right, before I even get into this, but I just realized what it was making me think of the whole time. Remember that huge like best-selling book, and then I think they made it into a movie. I think it was just called Heaven is Real. It was like a little kid. A little kid was like in a coma, and then he like came out of the coma and said like, "I saw heaven," and like adults. Like real life, serious people that go to jobs and whatever, pay mortgages and shit. Were like, this is it. This is the scientific proof we need. He's been to the afterlife. It's like this kid had a fucking coma dream, and you like coerced all these other like facts out of him, and like then like took him on a media tour. It was just so crazy how like mainstream it was. Like it wasn't just like going on like the 700 Club and like, you know, whatever, like preacher shows. It was like going on the Today Show, and like, you know, fucking Katie Couric or whoever like takes it totally seriously. Little Johnny, you really went to heaven, huh? Just, I don't know. The whole thing made me feel like I was losing my mind when it was going down.
What does heaven look like?
Well, to give you brief examples of what heaven looks like, one is the perfect version of Earth. There's no sin there, which means that it's always, there's no night, there's no glasses, no wheelchairs. Everybody in heaven has wings. There are animals, people, there are trees, water, just pretty much everything we have down here on Earth.
Sonia, how did you feel when Colton told you that he knew about the baby that died in your tummy? Who all did you get to meet in heaven?
Well, I got to meet King David, Samson, the apostles Peter and John, Mary, Jesus' mother, and I was also able to meet my great-grandpa, my sister, and Jesus. But just by walking around with Jesus, I was also able to meet the archangels Michael and Gabriel. So everybody there knows who you are. You may not know them, but they know you.
Did you have conversations with them?
Yes, I did talk to them, but God has not allowed me to remember what we talked about.
What does God look like?
Well, it's hard to imagine what God looks like because he's just so massive. He's big enough that he can hold the whole world in his hands, so you know that trying to see him is just difficult. But the closest representation to what he looks like is the Archangel Gabriel.
What about Jesus? Describe him.
Well, Jesus, he has brown hair, a brown beard. He has just beautiful eyes, beautiful sea blue eyes. And his smile is brighter than any that I've ever seen.
I guess it also makes perfect sense, you know. People are pretty fucking religious and want to believe desperately in stuff like that. Right. But this is like the serious philosopher's version of that, because this guy refers to himself as the free-thinking theist, and he's got a PhD in theology or something. Yeah.
A pimp and hose degree?
Yeah, pimp and hose degree in theological seminary studies. former youth pastor, now devoted to answering deep theological and philosophical questions. Blah, 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 blah. It's so hard for me to see the word free thinking and then theist after it. I like keep just imagining one of those like epic, what was that guy? The Amazing Atheist. All right. I'm bringing up all the old.
The Amazing Racist, Ari Shafir?
Him too. So this guy goes on to tell us, because, he knows with great certainty what heaven's government is like.
Yeah, he
a
does.
question I've never had ever, even when I maybe even believed in heaven at some point.
Listen, it's like the answer to what kind of government does heaven have is much like a gun. You'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You know what I mean?
True. Very Pascal's wager type shit. What a great question. If heaven is the way things ought to be, then humans ought to attempt to emulate this political standard, knowing full well we cannot create a literal heaven on earth. Just as we cannot each live just like Jesus, we are called to be holy and strive to approximate to his perfect standard, all while enjoying the perfect love and grace God gives us when we inevitably fall short. So, what is the government of heaven like? Yeah, get to it, man. Mitt. After years of contemplating this question, I would answer it like this. The government of heaven is something completely unique. Now, this part he has opted to put into bold, because it's that important. Imagine a king presiding over anarchy of completely free and perfectly good moral creatures! ! That is heaven! ! By, quote, anarchy, I mean that God is not causally determining anyone from the same rebellion that Satan chose. It is just that the citizens of heaven have learned from... I've never heard this phrase, citizens of heaven, either. It all just
the
sounds
citizens of heaven. Yeah. My grandma, she's a citizen of heaven. Everyone knows that.
It also sounds like the name of
She
a
had to get her
fucking
passport
cult.
changed. Right. Oh, yeah. It sounds like a really bad prog band from the 90s.
Yeah. Like a Christian libertarian cult would be called the Citizens of Heaven. The sovereign citizens of heaven, rather. That would be the real tweak there. Have learned from light momentary afflictions and eternally freely choose to love God. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Got to skip a fair amount of gibberish here. But yeah, go ahead.
Can I just say that, like, it really speaks to the baby brain nature of the libertarian mind that, like, the perfect world, the perfect heaven is like, it is like the toxic relationship thing where it's like, I shouldn't have to tell you what I want for dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's chaos and there's no rules, but everyone is well behaved and does the right thing because they know exactly what God wants. And it is that, like, it's not as good when I have to ask for it. It's basically, it's the same. It's, you know, like I said, it's that toxic relationship thing. It's like, I just want you to know what I want without me having to ask for it. I want you to know. And it's like, that's the kind of thing that people say when they're like children in relationships or like in high school. And you like, eventually you become an adult and you have like proper expectations and you know how to like, to interact with people, you have to communicate. And it is like, yeah, it just speaks to like the baby brain nature. I mean, like, people love to point out that libertarians are pedophiles or whatever, but it's like, you know, maybe it's not a physical thing. It is like a mental thing. They're attracted to children because that's where their brains are. It's not because they find them physically attractive.
They're only,
they have the brains.
They're only pedophiles because they're retarded.
Yes. Yes.
That's a great tagline motto for the Libertarian Party in the United States.
Yeah.
We're only pedophiles because we're retarded. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is like, and then when you splice it with this kind of like evangelical, like whatever, like rabid Christianity or whatever, it just makes it 10 times worse, that whole dynamic you're talking about, because that whole thing is like the way they explain, like the way they quote unquote explain away all these like, you know, things that don't make any fucking sense about their worldview. Like, it's always just like free will. God gave us free will. But it's like, okay, but God gave us free will knowing what each and every one of us would do with that free will. shut up, leave me alone. Like that's at the end of the conversation. But he's still relying on that even in the perfection of heaven, right? It's like, well, people can do whatever they want because they're perfect now and they won't do bad stuff. So that's
right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's obviously very stupid. I'll only say one more thing about this because like a lot of this is just totally not even worth reading out loud. But the second like section of this answer is entitled "Heaven's Constitution." I just love this idea of like there's like government buildings, there's judges and lawyers and shit, and like constitutional scholars in heaven.
Hold the fuck on. Are you telling me that when I die and I go up to heaven and I'm like in that fucking the pearly gates and then everything is great, I'm one with God and all this, I still gotta fucking deal with the parliamentarians, bitch ass?
Exactly. You can never escape.
What the fuck?
You can never escape the parliamentarian, no matter how.
God damn it!
And it's even worse in hell. Everyone is the parliamentarian in hell.
Oh no! It's like being John Malkovich, but it's the parliamentarian.
Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich.
Malkovich! You are also the parliamentarian. You can't escape yourself.
Fuck me. Yeah.
He says about this Constitution, the completely free in a libertarian sense and perfectly good mortal creatures of heaven are protected from those who reject God's love and grace and who do not love the citizens of heaven. I'm like getting lost in this as I'm reading it. He's like really bad at writing. Sure. These are the inhabitants of hell. Footnote. He's got footnotes in a fucking like Q&A response. Anyway, inhabitants of hell might desire the quote riches of heaven. They may want God's stuff, like a big yard where we can play football. What? But they do not.
What the fuck?
But they do not love God or his people, so they are not allowed into heaven. So the citizens of heaven are protected by an impassable metaphysical border, as it were. This guy's so bad at writing. All humans are sincerely invited into the kingdom of God because they are loved by their creator, who desires an eternal love relationship with each and every person. That I'm so familiar with this, like so a lot of these like cliche phrases, I guess, because this is the kind of shit I kind of grew up with. Not kind of, did. Daddy was a preacher man. But it always struck me as increasingly weird and strange, this language about having a personal relationship with God and how he wants that. He's like yearning for you to reach out to him and all this shit.
God's trying to get to second or third base, you know?
That's why like Christian hymns and like even modern like Christian like music or whatever all sounds like, if you just replace the words Jesus and God with like girlfriend or boyfriend or he or she, they sounds like love ballads. Like there's no difference. Sadly, however, many people reject the law of Christ, figuratively spit in the face of God. Oh, not literally. Flip him off and say, no thanks, I want to do life my way. Parentheses, as Frank Sinatra would say.
No.
For eternity. This guy thinks he's like throwing in clever like pop culture riffs because he's used the words my way.
Yeah, like
reminds me of a little Old Blue Eyes song.
Yeah. Like everyone knows Frankie Blue.
We could leave it there, I think. He just basically repeats the same thing over and over after that.
Sure. Yeah. That's the oeuvre of this style. Jeez.
The very last sentence. Oh no, this is his sign off rather, like a sincerely or like, yeah. my brother in Christ or whatever, comma. Stay reasonable. Isaiah 1, chapter 1, verse 18. Dr. Mitt Stratton. All right. I just thought that was a little weird curio to close out with.
Oh, yeah.
And God is a libertarian, folks. Now you know. That's what you come to this podcast for. Theologically sound advice. I've got some recommendations to go to shoot off here. I don't know why I'm saying it like that.
Sure.
One is an online magazine called 972mag.com. It's probably the best Israeli news media I've found. It's genuinely leftist and anti-Zionist, and they do good journalism and reporting over there. And I looked up that 972 is a reference to the one area code in the region that is shared both by Palestinian territories and Israel. So it's kind of a nice gesture or whatever. Yeah, it's good. It's been around for I think 15 years or something. So it's not just some fly by night flim flam. I've only recently started checking it out. So if it turns out that the CEO is like a pedo or whatever, I didn't know. I've just been hearing it referenced as a good site, so I finally started checking it out just in the last week or so. Second recommendation would be do yourself a favor and have a rewatch of Arrested Development. That's what I've been doing the last couple days, and it's good comfort food, as they say. And I've rewatched those first 3 seasons probably 10 times at least over the years. And also, it really hit me finally how old that show is when I was watching it the other day. I was like, God damn, it is fucking over 20 years old, this first season. This is what happens when you get older, folks. You just marvel at numbers and time and years. But, yeah. And if you've never...
Well, if you start with 1 and then you go to 2, and then, of course, obviously, after... Anyway... Continue.
It's like the Nicolas Cage reading off the alphabet thing is what that made me think of.
Right.
First you got A, then B.
What could be easier? It's all alphabetical. You just put it in the right file, according to alphabetical order. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Huh? That's all you have.
So yeah, and if you've never seen Arrested Development, which I find hard to believe, but also I know people don't see everything, so check it out. It's a good show from the early 2000s. You got anything, Tim?
Oh, yeah, well...
And I'm not going to say a word.
No. I was... So, in the Discord chat, which people should join, the Heat Death of the Universe Discord, link in the bio, obviously, but it'll be in the show notes. I was in there, I was talking about something that I thought was funny from the Only Murders in the Building show. And, it was... I don't know, it was just... It seemed like it was confusing. It was tough. You didn't understand what I was saying. And so okay.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, what were you going to say? Go
I'm
ahead.
afraid of stepping on any kind of thing you're setting up.
No, go. Say whatever you're going to say. What?
I was just going to say I remember the exchange exactly, but you go, keep explaining.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, of course you remember. I'm not saying it as if you wouldn't remember. I'm just saying... I was talking about it. It seemed like it was a bit of a confusion. It was hard to follow. And I don't want to recommend that for people and have them have a tough time figuring things out or, whatever. So I think it'll be best if I recommend something that everyone is familiar with. And I say that people should check out this show. It's on HBO. It's called Industry. It's really easy to follow. We've all seen it. We all know what the basis is. There's no room for confusion. It's just gonna, and that's why I think it's just easier It's not going to cause any problems, so I would recommend that people check that out.
It's a good, solid recommendation. I agree.
And it won't bother anybody, you know?
Yeah, I was very bothered by that other recommendation.
It won't confuse people. It won't bother them. You know, it won't cause any problems.
All right. Well, another one in the bag on the books. Yes, to reiterate, join the Discord. You'll find that in the episode description. There's also show notes where you can see some of the images we were describing and videos we were watching. You don't really need to see Matt Walsh's stupid face to get anything out of that clip.
It's fun and
he
funny.
does in that video. He looks like he's about to pass out. His eyes are like rolling up into his head. I don't know if you noticed that. At least that's the way it looked. I was like, is this guy fucking on fentanyl or something? Like, what's going on?
Should he have called in sick today?
Yeah, you gotta call in sick if you're gonna hole up and fucking shoot oxys all day, buddy. Can't be coming into work like that. Yes, show notes, websites,
Show notes.
Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. I usually just don't think to call it anything other than Twitter, and then I remember it's called something else, and I'll just keep calling it Twitter. Not really taking a stand or anything. It's Twitter. Fuck it, everyone.
I'm not gonna. The thing is that I don't know if I can support you dead naming it. You know?
Right, it's more dead naming. Eve Barlow. I said it. Eve Barlow.
Oh no.
Speaking of. And as Eve Barlow always says, on a daily basis, in front of a full-length mirror, yes, all cats are Zionists. Free parking is an anti-Semitic trope. I'm a 3-year-old high on Pop-Tarts. I'm the #1 victim of digital waterboarding. I did Lizzo's Playboy centerfold. I don't control the media. I'm the one who knocks. I am a rock. I am a lonely milk machine. I'm in erotic love with the mass deaths of Palestinian children. I'm Eve Shartlow, damn it. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people fucking hate me. Good night. Good luck. Good morning, Vietnam.
Shine, shine.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?